What is up? World Hockey Report live emergency press conference show. What be it? But before we even get to that, of course, it's Remembrance Day, Veterans Day. Hope everyone paid their dues, took their time. You know, it's a big day for everyone. But okay, we got the kid, Adam Erwintrout, with us as always, taking time out of his busy schedule. So he says, babysitting. It's a different babysitting, dog sitting. He's always got someone he's chasing around. Adam, what's up, buddy? How's the Remembrance Day treating you?
It's good. Went and watched some kids hockey and then had to take them home. So
You're not coaching, eh?
no, not a coach.
Not yet. We'll get you on that.
Hey. I gotta pay for my pizza that's here.
Oh, okay. Wow, that's a live pizza break then.
Yeah.
You know what? While Adam does that, see if he gets mugged by the pizza man.
Thank you.
So, talking about the events of the day, obviously, pretty big. Don Cherry gets canned by Sportsnet. We'll definitely get into a little bit of that. I'm sure Adam's got some opinions. Definitely have mine. Not sure if it's exactly how you want it handled or why it even got to this point. But it's pretty tough. Hey, let's talk about McDavid's hat trick last night while Adam is live on air ordering pizza. That's a new one. So McDavid hat trick. They're throwing hats in Anaheim. What a pathetic crowd. John Gibson.
We're good with the pizza there.
Adam says we're good with the pizza. Adam, give me your thoughts on McDavid's hat trick last night and the fans of Anaheim throwing free hats on the ice.
I thought John Gibson was pretty brutal last night. Like the first two goals, like the McDavid one and the Nugent Hopkins one, were both pretty bad. And then the Cashian one, like Cashian had one play and Gibson didn't read it. And then, McDavid scored a really nice goal there too. So the third one, I guess, power play, yeah.
Oilers, they're heating up. There's still no Calgary Flames, but hey, Flames got to figure out their goaltending situation. Like Riddick hasn't been bad, but I'm still not sold he's going to be their goalie of the future. Like, guy that'll bring him to the Stanley Cup. So it happens. Easy hit the over. Leafs Blackhawks yesterday. Thank you very much, my bookie. Alrighty, Adam. Though the big topic. It's man. Social media is blowing up today with Don Cherry getting canned by Sportsnet. I guess kind of the first is where we're going to start is obviously, he crosses lines. He's always been one who's not afraid to speak his mind, whether right or wrong. But then I would say Sportsnet kind of looked a little silly this morning when they come out and say, oh, he's quit. And then Don says, oh, he's fired. The miscommunication there looks not bad on Sportsnet's end, but yet again, like one of the points, it might have been you brought it up on Twitter or not, but how did it get to this point when they were clearly looking for a way to get rid of him? There was all these talks over summer. I'm pretty sure it's been the past 2 years about Don Cherry not coming back. Sportsnet's they're kind of associated together. Like they're the old boys. They're making as much as a lot of these young guys combined. And so, yeah, Sportsnet, Rogers, CBC, maybe they're looking to shed a little bit of salary. And they kind of they took their shot. And, they did it on Remembrance Day. Say what you want about that. They did it on a hot topic and in something where, social media, all the justice warriors will have their 2 cents. But I guess I'll let you take the mic now and give me your thoughts on it.
Yeah, obviously he said what he said, and whether you agree with it, disagree with it. Like, I think for the most part, he was just saying you should be wearing a poppy, which is true. But obviously, the you people and the milk and honey or whatever that comment was isn't right. I thought that, I think Coach's Corner has gotten to a point where people just watch it, not sarcastically, but just to see what stupid thing Don said, opposed to what informative thing he maybe used to say. So, I think I was watching at this point to see him just say something stupid. Last week he said that Scott Sabourin, after he's passed out on the ice and bleeding, that he got his bell rung, which is probably the wrong form. And then just getting all the names wrong, stuff like that, obviously wasn't right. And then firing him maybe is a little extreme, just given that the season isn't even a quarter way done and they did that. I'm curious to see what they're going to do for a follow-up on the first intermission. I'd assume Brian Burke might have something to do with it because he's kind of auditioning in the second game there. But it's been a long time for him. It's probably a couple years overdue, just given where he's at in his life and all that. So, yeah. But for him to double down today and say, yeah, I have nothing to apologize for, is kind of a joke because he chose his words clearly wrong. There's a lot of keyboard warriors out there making this political thing with the whole blackface thing and stuff like that. But yeah.
You knew I was going to bring that up too. Is it's kind of the whole racial controversy. I'd almost say, I mean, I haven't lived down in the States in a few years, but it almost feels like Canada's a little bit more like tense when it comes to that than down in the States. I mean, I feel like their racial issues kind of stem more towards police and that, but in Canada, everything obviously gets made political. We did just have an election, so it kind of, I see where people are coming from when it's on that, but I just think the tolerance isn't there for anything. And like, social media on this, there's a lot of people saying, well, social media got Don Cherry fired. I mean, give me your thoughts on that, because I do see some truth in that. And I mean, if he used to say this 20 years ago, no one can just go on their computer and, bitch and complain about it.
Yeah, and that's obviously where we're at on today's day and age with social media and all that, where everybody has a voice, which is good and bad, I guess. I think with Don Cherry, like, he was obviously on his last legs, and Sportsnet's proven to be pretty cheap. Like, they wanted to fire him, I'm guessing, for a long time, but now they have cause to do it. And then they let Kypreos go, which, whatever, it's still another guy. They let John Shannon, was it John Shannon or Doug McLean or something like that? Well, let one of those guys go. And now they just have like a 3-man panel basically with Elliott and Kelly Rudy and David Amber and I guess Burke the odd time too. But it's weird because like their announcers are just like so shitty that like you'd expect them to put their money somewhere else, which they clearly haven't, with like Dave Randorf calling every game and Kevin Quinn, I guess. But yeah.
I knew you weren't going to hold back on that. I just knew that there was going to be something about the Oilers broadcast crew. That's another thing is, what do they do with the panel now? Like, who do they just can Coach's Corner in general? Actually, no, one of the other things, I'm sure you saw the video, you're watching it live. Ron MacLean, he came out and apologized. I mean, that takes a lot of balls. It takes a lot of guts. I know people that, have worked with Ron, know Ron personally. They got nothing but good things to say about him. But for Ron to sit there, listen to that whole thing, I don't know if he nods, he gives a thumbs up after.
Like a thumbs up or whatever.
That's I don't know. It just doesn't.
That's like the classic thing, but it's still like
it doesn't sit well with me. Like, I mean, if you're gonna be, if you hate on one guy, or you hate on something for that, like, there also has to be like, hey, I mean, he just sat there and you let it fly. Like, he's supposed to be the captain of that ship, where he lets Don Cherry talk. Like, I don't care if you got to go 10 seconds over, 5 seconds over. You go, okay, like, that was uncalled for. That was definitely not something that we go with. Like, they're professionals too, and you kind of expect both of them to be held to a higher standard.
Yeah, and Ron MacLean, like, I mean, I don't mind them, but at the same time, I think his stories about this person's mother's cousins, friends, like kid, like all those stories are getting a little annoying, and just every single thing has to do with like a small town, which is good, and like it's nice to bring light to those towns, but at the same time, like, I wish he'd just be like a little more hockey oriented than just the backstory of everything. But that's kind of his shtick, and clearly he does a lot of good things, where he goes from Toronto to like BC overnight basically every weekend. So yeah, like, it doesn't so well with a lot of people.
On a scale of 0 to 10, how much do you hate hometown hockey for the fact that like 5% of it's actually hockey?
Yeah, like, I mean, it's, as I said, it's cool that you can give light to people and stuff like that and tell like their little story. But I mean, you look at Welland, Ontario, and all the stories that they're telling, and it's just like, you're probably doing something else if you're from Saskatchewan, I guess.
Like the only thing I tuned into was like when Biz was on, just because I generally enjoy him and like. Okay, I don't know what your thoughts are on this. I mean, kind of looking ahead, but like just for a replacement, I feel like there's like certain popular.
It'll be Brian Burke.
I know, and that's what I was getting at, which is sickening. Just because I mean, it's not like I don't like the guy. I don't mind some of his takes, but like just in general, like just cancel Coach's Corner. Honestly, I mean, give me more Kelly Rudy and Elliot Friedman because at least when they open their mouths, I don't want to switch the channel.
Yeah, I mean, maybe they should focus more on other things and
like showing us highlights of other games.
Corner got to a point where it was like the guys walking in, like a 30-second spiel on whatever guy scored his first NHL goal, and then like they'd usually end on like a remembrance or a sad note type of thing. Which I know is like a 45-second Budweiser commercial followed by a minute like thing. So it's weird. I'm sure it'll be a hot topic around the league.
How controversial is it though that like one of their biggest sponsor for the past few years is Huawei though, which is like a Chinese company, and everyone knows the whole China Canada thing. Like I've seen a lot of people getting in depth on that, and I was like, it's just public corporation. It's not a. I don't know. I feel like
if they want to pay the money to have their name sponsored there, that's could be another reason too. I guess you just can't.
Yeah, it's I don't know. There's so much that goes on with that. Okay, we've got we just ran through 15 minutes. Anything else? What are you thinking? I mean, I'm sure you're reading some of these player responses to that. I think it was Bill Horvat that just came out and said he thinks that Sportsnet did the right thing. Dustin Penner had a pretty hot take
Bill
on
Horvat's
that.
Like a captain of like the most Western Canadian team, so he's kind of speaking for like all of BC. And if he said something else, he'd probably get in a lot of shit for it.
Oh, for sure. But like, what do you think the players' side on this? Obviously, they're not watching Coach's Corner in between games, but like, everyone grew up watching Don Cherry. I mean, for me personally, like, it kind of sucks that he's not going to be on TV. I get it; he's past his time, and honestly, I haven't watched that much Coach's Corner over the past 2-3 years because it hasn't been as good or relevant. But like, there's also a little part of me that's like, damn, like he was the biggest media person ever in Canada. Like he's bigger than Peter Mansbridge. Yeah, like he's bigger than any one of them. Like it was that Simon Cowell off of American or Canadian Idol. Like those are like the guys who I'm associating with, like they're massive, and like Don Cherry's honestly bigger.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like as far as the players go, like none of them watch it, none of them probably care. Like, but all of them, like namely Canadian ones, grew up watching it. So a small part of that, like a lot of people would watch like with their dad or their parents. So like that kind of would resonate with them, I guess. Just like watching hockey during supper with your parents, but at the same time, I'm sure a lot of them kind of realize that he's past his time, and then he doesn't really say much, and him screwing up everybody's name and stuff is probably away from it. And like, if you ever got called out on there, you probably would take a lot of heat for it too. So I think obviously it won't affect them, but maybe it's just like bittersweet where it's like, okay, he had to go, but you remember like what you used to do, kind of.
I can't wait until John Cherry goes on Spittin' Chicklets. That's going to be a hilarious interview. That's breaking news, most likely. May or may not happen. I don't know. Okay, another thing I wanted to ask you about. There's a lot of people like trying to dig up dirt on Don Cherry, essentially of his old Coach's Corners, and using the term racist and like, not even judgmental. I forget some of the terms like bigotry and stuff when he talks about European players like Russians. I mean, you're a hockey guy too. Like I when I've watched that, I never think of that as racist or like.
No, like, it's just like they have a different style of play over there. And like when they come to North, like it's more like a skilled kind of stay on the outside style of play and find like the guy back door where, you come to North America and it's just like you got to grind away, and a lot of those guys aren't used to it. So he calls them out. Like there's a lot of really good, like hardcore guys. Like, I mean, if he calls out a Swedish guy, like you could show him like Johan Franzen, like going in the net and just getting the shit kicked out of him. But like, for every one of those guys, there's like a Nail Yakupov who wanted nothing to do with any like physical play at all and stuff like that. So
yeah, but I get where he's coming from, and I get his whole point. But the people that try to say like that was like hateful speech towards
No,
like
it's
a
not.
country or that. Like I mean, there's been some pretty big names who work for national media outlets that kind of try to dig that up, and I just don't think that's I don't think I think people are trying to make this a bigger story than it is. The
Yeah, like everybody just wants to kind of get noticed, I guess, or something like that.
Also, this is last one on this, and we're going to talk about some bets for tonight because I got to start winning through my bookie. Don Cherry getting fired on Remembrance Day. Everyone knows if you follow Don Cherry over the past 30 years, like he has been the biggest supporter of the military and for the troops. Did Sportsnet, flub up by not waiting a day? Because that's one where I totally see. Yeah, well, I mean, sure you call it. I mean, if you want to call it a holiday, whatever. It's a day off.
Like a day off.
Yeah, no, I totally get what you're saying there. But like, man, that's as scummy as it gets. That's a 10 out of 10 on the scummy scale in my books for not waiting till tomorrow or doing it yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, why can't they just done it like with their statement yesterday?
Yeah, no, that's one where I really kind of didn't irk me, but it rubbed me the wrong way, and that's just kind of how a few things have just been happening with them. And honestly, every time I get to watch a hockey game on TSN or something, I'm very happy to do that. I don't see Don switching sides, but yet again, I think that's kind of just the transition, and it'll be interesting to see when this new NHL deal comes out. What happens with those big companies like Rogers, because I feel like for the MLB, when they got their new TV deal, some of the stations, I mean, they ended up hurting. And I mean, look at this year, they're streaming those games online, like the playoff games, and just through MLB TV. So it'll be interesting to see what happens there and with the big national media, because I mean, I feel like some of the firings are definitely to save some money.
Yeah, I agree, and a lot of people got on the Blue Jays for not spending, and they're saying that'll change. We'll have to see where it goes with hockey too.
Who knows about that? Alrighty, let's talk some bets for tonight before we get.
Sounds good. I'm out of here.
Okay, you're out of here. Pizza time, I guess.
Peace out.
Fair enough. Alrighty, Adam Ermintrout joining us live on the show. He's babysitting, so hey, we appreciate him, the co-host, coming on, taking his time, talking some bets. MyBookie, of course. If you're going to be placing anything, mybookie.ag, use the promo code 12OZSports, and they're going to match your deposit up to $1,000. 2 games in the NHL tonight, so we'll take a look at that. You got Arizona, Washington on the money line, minus 185 for the Caps. They're at home. Ottawa and Carolina. Carolina's 260 on the money line. Puck line plus 100 for the Canes, plus 130 for the Caps. And this was one where I was like, oh, okay, Washington at home against Arizona should be an easy one. But the Coyotes have kind of played Washington pretty tight up until this point. For the Sens, I really just don't think they got that juice in their step. You're in Carolina. Carolina's kind of been having a rough go, so they might end up turning it around a little bit more. Over-under's even tough. I mean, Ottawa and Carolina, well, Nielsen's been playing just fine. I'm not sure. I haven't checked out any starting goalies. But I do think, if I got to choose a game for this one, definitely going to be Washington and Arizona. And yeah, I will go a little bit unpredictable in just the sense of I think Washington on the puck line could be your best play for tonight. It's at plus 130. $100, make it 130. Whatever your unit play is. Shout out, Philly P. If you're on Twitter, you got to go give him a follow. He is crushing. I think he's like up 90 units or something stupid. What is it? It's November, so we've been having NHL for about 2 months, something like that. So I'd go lock that one in. Washington Capitals minus 1.5 puck line. They are at plus 130. Taking a quick look, other hockey stuff. Of course, we'll talk about live. Comes to Monday and Fridays, usually 8 a.m. Mountain Standard Time, 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. It's Remembrance Day, Veterans Day. You know what? Hey, that's a big one. we'll pay our dues, we'll pay our respects there. Quick look. Other hockey stuff brought to you by Seat Giant 2, of course. You want to buy tickets, seatgiant.ca. It's the best new way to buy tickets. None of those old traditional apps, websites where they're charging you up the hoo-ha for random fees that keep them motoring. Seatgiant.ca. The way to go is save money on your tickets when you use the promo code 12OZ Sports, of course. Going through the World Hockey Report Twitter page at World Hockey RPT. That's Stephen A. thing. Hilarious. He's one of the best in the media, and he's outspoken too. They let him go for that. We already talked about NHL players speaking out about Don Cherry as well. How about that Jeremy Roenick story? Adam tweeted this one out from earlier. Got to give him credits on that one. He was talking about playing 36 holes of golf with Michael Jordan, drinking 10 plus beers, and then putting up 52 points in a basketball game. If you haven't heard it, we're going to play this one for you right now. It's about 2 minutes, but it's definitely a story you're going to want to hear.
Did you gamble with Jordan on the course?
So I got a good story. I don't know if I should tell on the radio, but screw it.
No one listens to our show, JR.
Yeah, right. Back in the 90s, when the Bulls were on fire, this was like end of the season for us, end of the season for them. I get a call from Michael. Meet me at Sunset Ridge. Early, we're going to go play 18 holes. We didn't have a game. We actually had a day off. So I meet him at Sunset Ridge. Big old Greg Kunkel, who's one of the best people in golf here in Chicago. I got to mention Greg at Sunset Ridge. So we played around, beat him for a couple thousand, and I'm getting ready to leave. Now, Bulls are playing that night. They play Cleveland that night. So I'm thinking he's leaving. It's 10 o'clock. He's like, no, let's go play again. So he goes and we fill up a bag full of ice and Coors Light, and we walk again. we roll around another 18. I take him for another couple. And yeah, and now we've been drinking all afternoon. Now he's going from Sunset Ridge to the stadium to play a game. And I'm like messing around. I'm like, I'm gonna call my bookie, and I'm gonna get all the money that you just lost to me. I'm putting on Cleveland tonight. He goes, I'll tell you what. He goes, I'll bet you that we win by 20 points and I have more than 40. I'm like, done. Son of a gun goes out, scores 52, and they win by 26 or something after 18 holes of golf.
And 36 holes of golf.
36 holes of golf, and having like maybe 10 Bud Lights.
Stop.
The man, Michael Jordan, to me, is probably the best athlete that I've ever seen, that I've ever been around and watched play. And, you know, the way he presented himself and played the game. Just amazing.
What year was that?
That would have been 92.
92, so early Jordan.
92, 93. Yeah, 92, 93.
That's Jeremy Roenick talking on 670 the score. Wow. Jordan crushing 10 beers, doing 36 holes of golf, then absolutely crushing it in the NBA. That's insane. I don't know how someone could do that. And I mean, kudos to Roenick. You know, a lot of people don't want to talk about that, don't want to get those stories out there. I think that's great. That's what makes the game so awesome. I mean, these are real people. They want to live real lives. As much as Stephen A. might say something else. I mean, his Knicks, they're not doing so well. But you got to take Don Cherry getting fired.
What the hell is going on?
He's got to be one of the best on the radio. Did you see that goal? It's still going viral on our page. Swedish prospect. Nuts what he tried. Niels Höglander. He tried the Michigan, or he scored on the Michigan, or whatever you want to call it, last week. Then neutral zone, he tries the little spinorama, pick it up on your stick, and he whiffs on it. But I mean, just the balls to try that in a game, that's ridiculous. Also, that Kuznetsov fake crossover, unreal. One more quick NHL mention. Cale Makar, point per game through 17 games, former Brooks Bandit. Shout out. That guy's unreal. Colorado is going to be a team to be messing with. I don't know. They're kind of in the same situation as Calgary, though. Is Grubauer the guy? Is Riddick the guy? They're not holes, they're not really spots that I feel too comfortable with if I'd be a fan of either of those teams. Of course, show brought to you Best Buds CBD, MyBookie.ag, SeatGiant.ca. Use the promo code 12OZ Sports. MyBookie's going to match your deposit up to $1,000. Seat Giant, well, you're going to save money on your next ticket purchase. That's SeatGiant.ca if you're in Canada, SeatGiant.com if you are in the States. 12-ounce Sports Radio is where we're at live. Tons of big shows. You got Scout Team Radio in the morning, Best in the Biz, Primetime Capper, Pop DiBiase, midday. He is crushing it with those bets. Of course, you go to 12OZSportsRadio.com, save a bunch of money, and find yourself some cool merch on there as well. You can get Drinkade. Yeah, I mean, if you're dabbling in it, might have a glass of white or red wine. Not going colorblind. Red wine going right now. Drinkade. It is going to prevent your hangover, save you the next day. That's how it is. You got Penn Ohio Ceiling as well. Best in the Biz. And there's a 12-ounce sports mall. Christmas time is coming up. You want to get some of that shopping in? Well, there you go. 12OunceSportsRadio.com. It's Monday. It's Remembrance Day, Veterans Day. If you see them around, thank them. They are the reason we get to enjoy all the freedom. We get to enjoy hockey, sports, everything, really. I mean, hey, it's a big day. You got to pay your dues and enjoy it. But other than that, let's go. Have a good week. We'll be back here on Friday, 10 o'clock Eastern Time, 8 o'clock Mountain Standard Time. It's Cody Jansen. We'll Talk Your Report live.